I watched this today, and wow. Okay, so if you've seen the Girl Next Door movie from the '90s or The Graduate, this is basic. Here, let me this is basically the same movie. It's not a horrible movie. It's just plot hole city. But I gotta say, there's a scene on there where they're at the beach and she's skinny dipping, and these kids try to mess with them or something, and she comes out of the water buck naked, man. And I mean, you see everything. I mean, it's she looks pretty damn good for her age. I'll give her that, man. I think she's either her late 30s or 40s right now. I'm not really sure, but goddamn. I mean, she is in really good fucking shape, man. Like, I was quite surprised, man. Put it that way. I was just wow. So the movie, the plot is just so she plays this girl who inherited her parents' house or something, and she can't pay the property taxes. So she goes on Craigslist and she's trying to figure out ways to make money and all this. And then her ex-boyfriend guy keeps coming and trying to repo her car and take it away and mess with her. So she's out of a car. So she's like roller skating around. And the whole time I'm thinking, why don't you just rent the house out? You could just rent it out and pay off the property tax. It's just stupid. So, anyways, that's the biggest plot hole, because the whole time I'm just thinking, just rent the house out. You could get probably $2,000 or more a month for that house that they showed in Rent. It would pay the house off, and she'd have money left over to go rent an apartment or something. It was just that was a huge plot hole, anyways. But so she sees this Craig ad where these I think it's in Montauk. I'm not sure if that's in New York or where that is, the Hamptons, but it's some hoity-toity rich town or something, like New Jersey somewhere or something. And Matthew Broderick, who looks like he's in his late hundreds on this, like I couldn't believe that was Matthew Broderick. I was like, wow, this is damn. Fucking Ferris Bueller looks like he's in his fucking 90s, man. Yeah, it's Matthew Broderick. So this is the kid's dad, this is the mom, and this is the kid on here. So the parents are upset that this kid doesn't have a girlfriend, and this is what I mean. This plot is really retarded. So they're trying to get this kid, they're trying to get their son laid. Basically, that's the plot. It's like, we'll just get some hot piece of ass off Craigslist to fuck our son. So she goes and applies for the job, and they're explaining to her, like, oh, well, are you a prostitute and all of this? And she's like, no, I'm a professional woman and all this. And they're like, oh, we just want you to date our son, wink wink. And then she's like, oh, well, I'll date his fucking brains out and all this. And then they're like, oh, okay, we're going to pop our son's cherry, which that whole plot thing is kind of weird. So this dweeb, basically a guy he looks like a Kiana guy, like he would be going on the troll show thing or Kiana's dating show. This dude here. So he works at some like dog adoption kennel thing. So she goes there and she's like trying to talk to him and get with him, and he's not having it because he's a fucking loser. And she ends up like convincing him to like go hang out with her and all this, and I don't know. It was like they were trying to rip off something about Mary or American Pie or something. It's just all of these off the wall things that happen. And then he tries to take her to his prom. So he's 19 apparently, which is kind of weird graduating, but he's 19. I think she's like 30 or something. So she tries to go to the prom. And then I don't know, they didn't show that. And then they just show this after party where he was embarrassed and didn't want her to go to the after party. But she shows up at the after party because she felt bad and the parents are paying for her and all this. And that's what I mean. Like, it's a good thing they showed her buck nude in this, man, because this whole plot and everything is just, it's just Graduate and the Girl Next Door movie combined. That's all they're doing. They're just ripping it off. They're like, oh, she's this older non-MILF that's trying to get in with this young guy, and oh, her parents are trying to pop their kid's cherry and all this, and it's just this whole weird thing with the parents. And then the other thing is the parents are so they get to this point, the kid starts falling in love with her and all this, and she's telling the parents like, oh, this is getting heavy and we should take a break and all this. And they're like, oh, no, this is good and all this. And then he says, the kid says, I'm not going to go to college, and that he's going to go marry her and all this. And the parents are like, no, you're going to college. You got to tell him he's going to college. And just the plot is garbage. It's just a bunch of stupid bullshit. There's like not really a story or anything. It's just them doing wacky stuff, and it's just all over the place. Oh, and then this scene here. So they're talking about like their past relationships and all this. And I don't know if this dude was gay or where they were trying to go with that, but so she's talking about this loser guy that left her for dead pretty much and screwed her over, which is the tow truck idiot. And then he's like, oh, I can't remember what that guy's name was. It was some woman's name, like Janika, or it's some Jewish dude. So anyways, he's like, oh, I want to introduce you and all this. So they go to like this lighthouse, and this super flamboyant dude comes out, and it's like very obvious what's going on. So he brings his friend a frisbee. There's a picture of him, and the friend throws the frisbee, and then the kid runs off and gets it. And Jennifer and this flamboyant dude are having this conversation, and the guy's like, well, what do you want? Why are you here, bitch? Get out of here. He's my man and all this. And she's like, oh, well, I'm trying to do the same thing you are. And he's like, what's that? And she's going, fuck him. And then he got like mad because she called him out. And then he's like, oh, I know very powerful people and all this, and I can ruin you and do all this stuff to you. And it's like, I don't give a fuck. And then like the guy kind of like realized like he couldn't do anything to her. So he kind of like backs off. And I don't really know what the whole point of that scene was, other than to have like a gay person on there, maybe like to virtue signal or something. Like I really don't know what the point of that scene was, but it's not a bad movie, but I've seen this movie before. The Girl Next Door does it way better than this movie, and the plot on The Girl Next Door is way better. The whole plot on this is the problem. Like, what kind of a parent would put a Craig's ad to get their son's cherry popped? I mean, that whole thing weirded me out, man. Oh, and then the other thing was, the parents are all, we're going to give you our Tesla and all this, because there's this, it comes to this point where, the kid's falling in love with her, and he's like, oh, well, I'm not going to go to college and all this. And then they tell her, we'll give you the Tesla if you get him to go to college. And then the kid is in this car and he hears it on the Bluetooth or something. Like the car is connected to the house. So the kid gets mad because he realizes the parents were paying for this chick to pop his cherry. And it's just this whole weird story, man. And then she gets this car, which is not a Tesla, by the way. And the parents keep telling her, "Oh, we're going to give you the Tesla. We're going to give you the Tesla." And they never give her the Tesla. They just give her this Buick. And I'm like, why are you telling her over and over on the movie that you're going to give her this Tesla, but you just give her the Buick? Like, I don't know. It was just a side thing, but if it weren't for her getting buck nude on that one scene and seeing the goods, I don't know if I'd finish watching this because it was just I'd say maybe it's okay for one watch through if it's on TV like 2 or 3 years from now, but I wouldn't say go to the theater and see this. It's just not that good. The one thing I'll say though is she is fucking held up like, man, wow. She is held up really good, man. When they show that nude scene, I was fucking impressed, man. I was just like, wow. She fucking held up pretty damn good, man. I don't know what she's doing, but it sure is working for her. I'll give her that. But that's pretty much the story of this movie. Just the parents are like, pop our son's cherry and all this, and then the kid goes overboard trying to get with her. Oh, and then there's a weird scene too where after he finds out, he brings her in this room and he's like, "Oh, I loved you and I wanted to be with you and all this." And then she's like, "Oh, do you want to fuck me?" And he's like, "Sure, okay." And then she starts getting naked and everything, and the dude's like getting freaked out. And she gets in the bed and she's like, "I'm ready to go when you are," and all this. And the fucking dude gets in the bed, and all he does is have a convo with her about the future, about what he wants and all this. Like, really, dude? Way to fucking lose it, bro. That was like that would be like what I would imagine if one of those people on the Troll Show or Kiana's show actually got to date her. And that's what would happen if she bluffed them like that. They would just be in bed telling them about their intense Pokemon collection and all of this stuff. And I don't really have much else to say about it, though, I guess. She's a crazy fucking bitch, though. That's the other thing. Like in real life, like she's pretty nuts. Though. Like when Biden won, she apparently went outside naked, screaming Biden won or whatever. But if it weren't for her getting nude, I don't think I would have finished this, honestly. So, they knew what they were doing, telling her to get nude on this. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.